He thought overtime was saving him. It wasn't. He didn't lose his life in any way that would show up on a form. No bankruptcy. No arrest. No dramatic collapse. He just worked, and slowly the life around the work emptied out, until one afternoon he sat in his car in a parking lot, looked at the highest bank balance he'd had in years, and felt absolutely nothing. That's where this story starts. Not at the end. Just somewhere in the middle where the math finally speaks clearly, and a man has to decide whether he's been listening. Marcus was 32. He worked floor operations at a regional distribution center outside Columbus. He was good at it, solid and dependable, the kind of employee managers stop worrying about. He made decent money. Not enough. After rent, the car payment, his share of the household, and the credit card minimums that had followed him since his mid-20s, there was usually a few $100s left. Some months less. He wasn't reckless. That's important to understand. He didn't make bad bets or buy things he didn't need. He just lived in a world where the math ran slightly against him every month, and he had spent years trying to outwork the gap. His girlfriend Dana had been with him 3 years by then. She was warm and practical and funny in the specific way of someone who has also learned not to expect too much. She worked part-time at a dental office and was raising her daughter from a previous relationship. She and Marcus had built something quiet and steady together. Not perfect. Real. Most evenings they cooked or ordered in and talked about small things, and Marcus was present for it. He was still himself then. The overtime started in October. The center was short-staffed heading into the holiday season, and the supervisor asked who wanted extra hours. Marcus's hand went up. The rate was time and a half on Saturdays, double on Sundays. He did the math at lunch. 2 extra Sundays a month and the credit card would be manageable by spring. For months. Temporary. He was clear with himself about that. He told Dana the same thing. Just through the holidays. She said okay. She trusted him with plans. The first month felt like discipline. He came home Sundays genuinely tired, the kind that meant something. He'd check the balance before sleeping and feel the shape of progress. This was how you did it. You identified the problem, you applied the effort, you fixed it. But the holidays ended and the offers kept coming. Marcus kept saying yes. Not because he stopped caring about the temporary part, but because the target kept shifting. The card came down and something else went up. The car needed work. Dana's daughter needed things for school. The balance he'd imagined celebrating never quite arrived, and each time he got close he'd find another reason to stay on the clock one more weekend. By February he was working 6 days a week. He hadn't decided to become that person. He had simply kept saying yes until yes became his schedule. His body registered it before his mind did. He needed 2 cups of coffee to feel like one used to feel. The small colds that moved through workplaces started lasting longer. He stopped going to the gym, not a decision, just a slow disappearance of the hours it had lived in. He gained some weight. He ate whatever was fast. He told himself this was temporary too. What he didn't see was what Dana was beginning to see. She noticed that his answers got shorter. That he'd sit in front of the TV and be somewhere else entirely. That she could tell him something and he'd nod but not receive it. She was still warm with him. She didn't push. But she started doing small things on her own that she used to save for them, watching a show they'd meant to watch together, making a decision about the weekend without checking first. Not out of anger. Out of adjustment. He didn't register any of it. He was building something. That's what he told himself on the drive to work, on the drive home, during the 10 minutes before he fell asleep. I am building something. It won't be like this forever. In April he missed Dana's daughter's birthday dinner. A double shift, a no-show on the floor, he couldn't leave. He came home to a quiet apartment and a plate left warm in the microwave. He apologized. Dana said it was fine. He heard her say it was fine and believed her. In May he was too tired to make it to a close friend's going away gathering. He texted instead. Said he'd come by before the move. He didn't. In June his sister called on a Sunday afternoon and he let it go to voicemail. He called back 11 days later, driving between shifts, the conversation short and distracted. Separately, each of these had a reason. Together, they were a portrait of someone who had gone away. The thing about fatigue at that depth is that it stops feeling like fatigue. It starts feeling like who you are. Marcus thought his flatness was focus. He thought the fact that nothing moved him much anymore was just what getting older felt like. He thought his patience with small joys was a sign of maturity. Dana left in August. There wasn't a single fight that explained it. There was a Tuesday evening, the kitchen table, her voice steady and careful. She told him she felt like she was living beside someone who had already left, and she was tired of it. He didn't argue. He didn't have anything to say that would have changed the shape of what she was describing. He sat with it and felt far away even from that. She moved out over a weekend. He worked the Saturday. When he came home the apartment was half empty and he stood in the doorway for a long time, not because he was overwhelmed, but because he wasn't, and that frightened him more. He went to work on Sunday. The realization came on a Wednesday in September. Lunch break. His car, the same parking lot, the same fluorescent rectangle of a building in front of him. He opened his bank account. The number was the highest it had been in years. He looked at it for a while. Waited to feel something. The relief he'd been working toward all those months wasn't there. The pride wasn't there. Even the tired satisfaction of progress was gone. There was just a number on a screen, and a man sitting in a car in a parking lot eating something from a paper bag, alone. He didn't think about money then. He started thinking about time. He tried to remember the last morning he woke up before his alarm because he'd slept enough. He tried to remember the last time he laughed without it being polite. He thought about the birthday dinner. The going away he never made it to. His sister's voicemail, 11 days unreturned. He thought about Dana at the kitchen table, her voice careful and already decided. He thought about who he was the October before and tried to find any trace of that person in the man sitting in this car. The number looked back at him from the screen. He had been paying something down. Something else had been paying him down at the same rate. His break ended. He went back inside and finished his shift. What followed wasn't a transformation. He started saying no to one Sunday a month, then two. He called his sister back the same week. He ate lunch inside with a coworker instead of alone in the car. Small course corrections, the kind that don't restore what's already gone. Dana didn't come back. The months he'd been absent didn't reverse. He had less than he started with in ways the account balance had no column for. But he started being a person who showed up. Not to work. To his own life. There is a kind of sacrifice that looks like responsibility from the outside. It gets praised. It looks like maturity. What it can cost from the inside, nobody really prepares you for. He thought he was spending time to save his life. He was spending his life. The saving never came.